I started building models when I was 5, so I've been building models 58 years.
Oh, it's such amazing work.
Thank you.
Just the dashboard alone, what the passenger sees, the grab bar.
The grab bar is made out of brass and it's nickel plated, and then I made all of the padding that runs around it.
The door for the glove box comes down and the cup holder is very defined.
The stamped cup holders are inside of the lid.
Super detail. Good morning, we're at GSL and I'm with Bob Jernigan, and he has one of the standout models that I've been looking at for a couple days. Truly stunning Pontiac. Bob, what great work.
Well, thank you. A friend of mine critiqued the last car that I built.
Okay.
And he said, you know, you did a really nice job and all. He goes, but the interior's kind of soft. So the next car I built, I wanted to step up the interior. So I did, and because this car has fond memories for me, I wanted to do an extra special job. My dad had a Grand Prix 64 like this in Sunfire Red and parchment interior when I was a kid. So that's what I wanted to build one. I wanted to have one in my collection. And I really liked the car, so when I got online and started looking at everything, all the details of a 60s Pontiac, the dashboard, I wanted to replicate that as much as I could. All Pontiac kits in the 60s, they have the tripod gauges up in the dash. That's a non-air conditioned car.
Okay.
You never see a model manufacturer make an air-conditioned 60s Pontiac.
You mean the dashboard itself is not set
It's
up
different.
that way? Oh boy.
You lose the 3-gauge pod.
Okay.
So in place of that, you have an air vent and a clock. So I milled that out of brass and then plated it, and then I added all the air conditioning vents. The air conditioning vents are made out of brass tubing, and then I soldered the photo etch ball type grill on it.
Yeah.
And then it's all nickel plated.
You're doing your own plating?
I do all my own plating. I do my own soldering. Of course, I own a plumbing company, so I'm a plumber.
Oh, okay.
So I soldered all that. I added the ductwork for the lap coolers. Luckily, there's enough aftermarket photo etch to make the grills and things like that for the air conditioning.
So you use existing photo etch.
I butchered a bunch of sets. So,
Cool. It's nice that was available because you have so much effort into other details as well.
Yes. So the ashtray opens. I don't know if you saw that. It's on a hinge. Soldered it on. The console is completely scratch built. I sanded all the detail off the console. The top ribbed part is out of the 66 GTO photo etch set because it matched exactly. And then the chrome rim that runs around the outer perimeter of the console is square extruded gold infused copper wire.
Okay.
And it was the perfect size, so I bent it and then plated it, and that's the chrome that runs the perimeter.
It has that perfect lightness to it.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't have that chunky kit feel.
Yes. Well, you got to keep it in scale.
Definitely. Which, you know, throughout the car I see that lightness. The chrome trim, especially on the outside, is the first thing that drew me in. Because as I walked by, I realized that's not chrome foil. That imitates the chrome and the stainless. That was like pencil lines on these Pontiacs, the way they were rendered and how they look. And when you look at this chrome, what I love is it's not just a flat piece that reflects like a bathroom mirror. It's got a roll to it. You've reproduced that so as you move around the room, the light rolls across it. There's a lot of life here.
That's done on purpose. I call it the jewelry. You know, after I paint it, I polish it out, and then I always tease my friends. I go, well, it's time to put the jewelry on the car. And the idea is to make the car sparkle, make it pop, you know, and that will reel you in. And then you can start noticing all the other subtle changes that are done. But you got to get somebody to look at the car. So it's the reel, you know, you got to pull them in. So it's Hasegawa foil. And it's actually mylar. When you buy that stuff, it looks like a mirror.
Yeah.
And it is vinyl, But vinyl has advantages. When you're working with bare metal foil, and it's annealed and it's very nice. You can work it around corners and things like that. This stuff's vinyl, it stretches. And it's really sticky. So you can pin it down at one corner and just kind of pull it like you would do pinstripe in a car and set it down.
I did not realize.
And it's perfect.
I've heard about it. You inspired me to try it.
Oh yeah, give it a shot.
So you're doing your own plating?
Yes.
Your own super detailing. As I sit and look at this, I certainly appreciate that you have honored the designers at Pontiac and how they laid out all the lines. You've kept them crisp. You've kept the reflections very true to the real car. As you said, that draws me in. I then go through, the engine compartment is gorgeous. The headlights have a great life to them.
They are actually lenses that are made for airplane landing gear, like the IPMS guys would have those. You had MV lenses years ago, they're out of business, but they're basically very much like an MV lens. Those particular ones come with a nickel-plated machined brass base that surrounds the light, which gives it a little more realism. You have that little piece of stainless that holds the light in with a screw in the bottom of it. So this kind of replicates that.
So you had the concave section. That was brass and that you plated.
No, it comes plated.
Oh, it comes plated.
You buy them
Perfect.
as a set. I don't remember where
wow.
I got them. I got them either off of Amazon or eBay. You can find them up there. Those are 5.5 millimeter. They come in all different sizes. Then I just ground out the back of the plastic molded lights and used a Dremel and just gently cleaned it all out and then fit those in. For the Frenzel lines, they come attached on a piece of paper, and they're square. There's 4 of them on there. So I took and I taped that down to a piece of hardwood floor, and I taped 2 stainless rulers, made a square, and then I just slid my framing square up there and scribed them all.
So you worked on a relatively hard surface
Yes.
that had enough give that you knew you could cut and not have your knife drop too deep down in there.
Yeah, the headlight material itself is actually kind of soft, so you just barely drag your number 11 blade across it, and it'll make a line pretty quick. I just like them because they have depth and they reflect light back.
Was the annual kit just a molded one-piece lens that was also chrome? I mean, it's like the total evolution of where we want it to be.
Yes.
With very realistic lights.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
and of course, this car wouldn't be what it is without those 8 lug wheels.
The 8 lug wheels are from the Mobius kit. I machined the center caps and I machined the trim rings out of brass. The trim rings on a 64 Pontiac are different than they are on a 61.
Oh man, research.
So, and so are the center caps. So if you look at the Mobius kit, the 61 Catalina or Ventura, whichever one you purchase, the center cap is like a puck. And the trim rings stop short of the edge of the rim, and you can see the edge of the rim poking out around those. But on the newer, the 64, they come down and they drop and they cover the entire rim. So they have a different look to them, even though it's the same splined part. And then the vent fins are at a 45-degree angle. So the center caps on a 64 follow that 45-degree angle, and then they cut out straight. So I machined all those, I plated them, they're nickel plated, and then they have the photo etch center on them that says Pontiac Motor Division, and I solder that on and I plate it all at once.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Mobius makes the best 8-lug Pontiac wheel that I've seen. And what's nice about it is if you can machine, the wheel's already cut to accept trim ring, and it's already cut to accept the center cap.
So all that research, all that searching for parts, you got the quintessential pieces, put them together. The wheels, I love the depth. On a 1/1 wheel, there's a depth to that with the fins and the texture of the smoothness of the rim, the lugs. This captures all of that. There's a lot of deep depth in there. The shadows are beautiful against the chrome.
The paint on the wheel is MCW Pontiac wheel paint. That's what it's called, the wheel paint. So it's the right color. And then the tips are the the chrome pin, the fins.
Oh yeah.
It's because the tips of the fins are machined, and the lug nuts. So I use the chrome pin for that.
And as part of the build, you had to cut the doors, hinge them, open them up?
Yeah, I use thread to cut the doors. I use thread to cut everything. And this was a promotional car, so the hood was molded in too.
Oh, wow.
So it was completely closed, everything. The reason I like to use thread is because you really have the ultimate control. I mean, when you have an A-pillar that's that small, when I cut the door out, I actually cut between the vent window and the A-pillar and bring it right down, and you can go around all those corners. And then in my build book, you can see a picture of it. And when I got done cutting it out, I laid it right back in there. You really couldn't even tell that I'd cut it out. It was that tight.
So you're using the advantage of that groove that's already there to guide
the thread.
The thread down. Wow. And I love making opening doors, but it's a real drag to make the sills and the jambs. You've done an awesome job on that because you've got the hardware in there. You also have all the weather stripping detail, which is nice and super thin and light.
Yes.
Something I'm really loving here is, when you're working with an old kit, it's fairly thick plastic, whether it's a promo or a kit or whatever. As you look at these and I see the open trunk and I see this hood on the stand, the very edge of the hood that we see is thin. It's not like a big block that you have. You've thinned it down?
A lot. So all the doors, the trunk, all that stuff is, I took a Dremel and milled them down.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I really like to make the car as realistic as possible. So I want to recreate that rolled metal look on the ends of the doors and around the trunk, and I want it to look, and that's a subtle thing that you do. And people like yourself that are really sharp and they're on the ball, they're going to notice that stuff. And the people that don't notice it, they don't notice it, but they feel it.
Oh boy, yeah.
That's they feel true. It. They're looking at it and they're like, wow, what? There's just something about it. I don't even know what it is, but it's a feeling.
Right.
You want the car to look real.
Yeah. At that point, you're not questioning it. It's subconscious. You're not noticing.
That's where you're headed with that. You just wanna get in their head and.
You've got a ton of that in this. Other things that are very subtle like that.
Yes.
You must have had some wonderful comments.
I have had many comments, and I'm very appreciative of that. And it's fun. A lot of fun. A lot of great people here.
Isn't it? It's the best. You and I both traveled a long way to get here, and it's worth it.
Yep.
He also has a dark blue 61, thank you.
Yep. Ventura.
That's also very cool. So I want to thank you.
Well, thank you
very much. It was good.
I
want you to get your car back in place so people can see it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doug.
Yeah.